Monday, of course, is Labor Day. Celebrated the first Monday in September. All right, I got to get rid of the funk. Labor Day, Monday, is the creation of the labor movement and is dedicated to the social and economic achievements of American workers. If you're anti-union, then you should show up to work on Monday. They're the reason why we have the day off. I think most people are just going to take the day off and go, this is one thing I like about the union. Well, to talk about the union, it's Richard Ray. He's the president of the Georgia AFL-CIO, and he joins us now on Denny Radio. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Denny.
Let me ask you this. You don't think people are that crazy, do you? They say, look, you know what, I'm not going to observe Labor Day because I am anti-union.
I think they take the holiday off.
So, but it is credited to the union, correct?
Correct. The Carpenters Union many years ago pushed to get a special day to recognize the working people and the labor movement, and it was passed by Congress, and we've been celebrating it for many years.
So the union has been influencing the Congress for hundreds of years, is what you're saying, right?
Correct. Or trying.
We're trying to. A little different nowadays, though. All right, so you've been a member of the union since '63. You've been the president since '99 of the AFL-CIO. You're a member of the state committee, Georgia Democratic Party. You're a member of the DNC. Let me ask you this. In the history of the AFL-CIO or any union that you know of, has there ever been a Republican president?
That was supported by the union?
No, a Republican who was a president of any union.
Not to my knowledge.
Why is that?
I don't know. They were just not smart enough to be a member of the union, I suppose.
Is that what it is? So you're saying some of these people just aren't as smart as the Democrats?
Maybe they never had the opportunity to join a union through their work life prior to becoming president of the United States.
Yeah, but there's been millions and millions of members of the union. I would have to think somewhere in there would be one or two Republicans that aspired to have a leadership role in a union, wouldn't you?
I'm sure there's been some, but I'm not sure they worked in an occupation that was covered by a union contract.
So let me ask you this, because some people say that the union is, irrelevant today. It started with really, for the rights of people, and, a lot of business owners were, they took advantage of folks. But some people say that the union's time has passed. What do you say to those folks?
The union is needed more today than ever before. We still have the same problems with workers being abused, workers not having a voice in the workplace. The issues that faced us when we first started are the same issues that basically face us today.
But don't we have enough laws on the books to protect the worker without a union, where folks would have to pay dues and everything that goes involved with it?
Not if you heard some of the phone calls that I get from people working out here today that don't have a union, wanting to know how to get in a union because they don't feel that they are being treated fairly in the workplace. They don't have a voice. The things that happen to a person in the workplace.
So, are unions growing today?
Last year, for the first year in about 3 or 4 years, we had an increase nationwide in the amount of people that came under the union umbrella.
All right. You don't mind taking questions, do you, Richard, if anybody calls?
I'm sorry?
You don't mind taking questions from callers?
No, I do not.
All right, here's the phone number, 770-226-0920, outside Atlanta, 888-920-2665. It's Richard Ray, president of Georgia AFL-CIO. Richard, you say the unions have grown for the first time last year. Then how long? How long has it been?
About 3 or 4 years. We had an increase in membership.
So does that have anything to do with the Obama administration, you think?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think that there's any, that hasn't swayed folks at all? Because President Obama is pretty friendly to the unions.
He certainly is a president that has expressed his support of people having the right to join a union, and certainly has put some people into positions like our labor secretary that is a little bit more friendly to working people and labor than we've had certainly in over 8 years.
So the union has grown, so could that be because our government has also grown and the union's grown because there's more federal jobs?
No, I don't attribute it to that. I attribute it to the fact of unions are actively trying to organize workers in the workplace. Last year we had quite a few that chose to become members of a union. It certainly has to do with some of the less restrictions that we had during the Bush administration through their different ways of holding workers down.
Let me grab a call here from Russ in Atlanta. Hello, Russ. You're on with Richard Ray.
Hi, Danny. Mr. Ray.
Good morning.
Danny, you asked about a prominent Republican who was president of the union. Well, Ronald Reagan was president of the Screen Actors Guild. So there is one example of a president of someone who wasn't held back by having been a member of a union.
You are correct.
But Reagan was a Democrat then, wasn't he?
Right, yes, it was.
Well, so that doesn't really count, Russ. I said, is there any Republican who has, been a president of any union and was an actual Republican? And yes, Ronald Reagan, we know what happened there. But anything else, Russ?
Well, I said he was a good Republican because he was a good Democrat because he turned into a Republican. So there's some, that does redeem him.
Thank you, Russ. 770-226-0920, 888-920-2665. My guest is Richard Ray, president of Georgia AFL-CIO. I do have the website linked up on Denny Radio. Now, are you at work right now, or where are you right now, Richard?
Yes, I'm at my office.
So are you wearing the union label right now as we speak?
Yes, I am.
How hard is it to find, things that are, made by a union that you can support? In other words, I'm assuming you don't shop at Walmart.
I do not shop at Walmart, no. It is very, very difficult, especially in the clothing line, to find any clothing made in America at this time because all those jobs have gone to foreign countries.
Now, do you think that if unions didn't contribute money to politicians, would they lose their effect? Would they, or are they influencing politics with the money that they throw at politicians?
We do not and cannot match the money that the business community, the lobbyists that work for these giant corporations, we cannot match them money-wise. Yes, we contribute money to politicians that vote favorably for working people, but our main job is to work our members to let them know who the politicians are that would be more favorable for them if they're elected. We don't. We spend a lot of money, but we don't spend anywhere near what the Chamber of Commerce, the Business Roundtable, corporations spend on influencing politics.
How much of someone's dues actually goes to political causes?
The money that comes in from people in our union movement goes in, they specify that they want these monies to go into a special political fund.
So the member has a choice. They can actually put it into conservative causes?
They have a right to put their money into a special COPE fund because we do endorse Republicans. Contrary to popular belief, we endorse more Democrats because they certainly vote and speak up for working people more than Republicans. But there are some Republicans that we do endorse.
Let's grab Mark in Johns Creek. Hello, Mark. You're on with Richard Ray.
Good morning.
Morning.
My first question is, don't U.S. goods that are manufactured by unions cost more to the consumer because of the added embedded costs of those union dues and the added
wage is higher? Good question. What do you think, Richard?
Well, you'd have to specify what product you're talking about.
Well, let's take the automobile industry, for instance, and this brings up my second question. If the automobile industry is selling, let's say, 1 million cars a year, and suddenly there's a slowdown in the economy, or it's a cyclical move, and there are less sales, why do the union members and why do the unions feel that it's still their right to continue to receive pay increases over coming years, even if there's a multi-year cyclical downturn in the business? And again, say it's automobiles, you go from selling 1 million cars a year to 700,000 cars a year. Why would anybody continue to be entitled to any type of a pay raise over that period of time?
Mark, great questions. Richard, go ahead and respond.
Okay, the UAW in their last contract negotiations with all of the major farmers located in the United States gave back many concessions on wages, other health care, everything that you can think of. They gave millions of dollars in concessions back to those corporations to help them through a very difficult time. As far as people getting raises, people have gotten raises through this recession that we've just gone through, whether they were union members or not. You take the big bonuses that the insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies got. They got their big bonuses back during the time that we've just gone through. So we can't say that the unions have not given back.
Well, they had to for the bailout money, didn't they, Richard?
No, they did not.
Well, if they wouldn't have, they would have went under.
Well,
GM would be gone, and then you have no jobs, so they were kind of forced to.
That's why the unions negotiate, and we call it collective bargaining. We sit across the bargaining table, and during the bad times, we negotiate to try to help the companies out of bad times. And the good times, we try to get benefits that would help our members.
Richard, very enlightening. Have a blessed Labor Day. I'm out of time, and thank you for going on.
Thank you.
Take care.
Denny Schaefer.
Denny Schaefer in for Dr. Bennett. Don't move. You're listening to Talk 920.